Hey everybody! I wanted to get started. I'm running a little late, but you know the truth is we're always on time. So if you can join me and invite. Welcome to Womanhood Wisdom Wednesday. You see me looking. Thank you for joining. If you can just invite a few people as you join in, then I won't have to do so much tapping and adding and all of that good stuff. You know, I really like coming outside to broadcast, but the weather has not been my friend during my birthday week. And of course, I definitely have some reflections to share with you from my birthday, of course. I'm inviting. Can you help me invite a few people? And I probably picked the busiest little area. So you might hear cars going by, people stopping to listen. Trains, you hear the trains. Just invite, if you can, some folks to join. You know, I have to, when I'm calling myself being out in nature, I have to pay attention. All right, y'all. Hey, thank you for joining. I just wanted to take a minute to come outside. I know my thing is all lopsided, but if I hold it up, you can see the shape. Hi everybody, thank you for all of your birthday greetings, and thank you just for your love and your text messages and your phone calls. I actually have not even gotten to all of the phone calls. This birthday, actually, I have been really moving very slow and deliberate in a different way. Geminis are known to be quick moving, quick thinking, always thinking, that type of thing. But I'm moving into a new season in my life, and I think that living abroad definitely had a lot to do with that. Costa Rica slowed me down tremendously, and it doesn't take much because I'm a Southern girl, and so as a Southern girl, you know, I'm used to a little bit more of a slower, open pace. Hey, everybody that's saying hello. Thank you for letting me know you're in here, because the numbers don't always tell the truth on this end. So if you're joining, just, if you don't mind, just click an invite to anybody that has the blue. Invite them on in here, please. Oh, gosh. Okay. All right, so as I was saying, I wanted to share a little inspiration that happened as a result of my whole little birthday. So, you know that in Super Solstice Star Sunday, we have been talking about our yes. We have been talking about all year living in our yes, in alignment, action, and abundance. Key word is alignment, action, and abundance. It's our A game once we say yes to something. And so, you know, we've had some guests on this month who are also sharing on the game of yes and how to play it in Super Solstice Star Sunday. I'm telling you, it's an awesome space to come and get your cup filled, even if you think you already know everything. It's an awesome space. So you know, I think that's a good segue talking about how Costa Rica slowed me down, because wherever you live, there is an energy. There is an astrological chart. There is a chart. There are chakras. There are ley lines in proximity to where you live. And so where you live can play a role in your relationship with not only your love, sex, and money, but it can play a role in your relationship with yourself. And even when you relocate, your rising sign changes. Okay, so even the chart that we are operating on. Now, that means that we've moved, because when you live closer to the equator, something else happens. This is why traveling is good. This is why being a global minded is really, really helpful for us not to ever feel like we're stuck, because many of us, in addition to being taught that we go to school, get a job, take care of our children, take care of our responsibilities, we fall into a routine. We fall into survival mode. This Washington, D.C. area was not always like this. This was not always hustle zone. This was a nice, chill combination, but you have to understand where you live and where it falls on the grid. And so this has everything to do with change. Sometimes when you are getting ready to change, you may be struggling with who you are, but you may not be located in the right location. You may not be, or you may be in a new season in your life that calls for a new location. So I say that to say that when I moved to Costa Rica, I sold a lot of my things. I was able to, hey sweetheart, I was able to break the attachment to things. I was able to break the attachment to survival mode. Even though I was an entrepreneur and had been an entrepreneur for many years, it's very easy when you are used to living a certain lifestyle and having certain conveniences to be very attached to that and to have your identity attached to that. I'm going somewhere with this. And as a result, I actually got rid of a lot of things. So when I came back to the U.S., as you all know, I was only supposed to be here in my mind, because we plan a plan and God plans plan. God is best planner. And when I talk about God, I'm not talking about some God up there that sit high and look low. I'm talking about the God that's on the inside of us. And so sometimes we're not always connected with that God. God is present, that is inside of us, and we can think that we are on track because we're performing in our life and we're doing whatever. Okay, so got that clear. So when we came back and realized that we weren't going on to the next business deal in the Dominican Republic, I actually, I told you I went through a period where I had to really adjust to even interacting with people who had been my friends, because they were still on the grid. They were still on the program. They were still under this spell that where you live, there's a certain energy that affects how you think and how you relate to yourself, how you relate to love, sex, and money. I'm just dealing with love, sex, and money, but I'm talking about everything. And I know I'm talking fast because I want to really get to the core of what opened up this space of our love-hate relationship with breaking the habit of being ourselves, which is what I'm talking about today. And so here I am. I'm waiting for summertime to come. So you remember, I wasn't here this time last year. I was down south, and it took a while for winter to break. Even then, just coming from Costa Rica. So long story short, I actually I was savvy enough. Something inside of me put aside just enough clothes in case we came back to the area. So because when we came, we aren't going on to the next business deal, I had to get focused. I had to think about what my why is, what my vision is, and what our vision is as a couple, and where we're going, why we're here. So I have been very, very focused on how I spend my time. I've been very, very focused on literally making where we live a manifestation casa, if you will. Okay. And so I say all that to say, I really have not been intentionally consuming, trying to attend everything, because then that brings in the whole thing about outfits. What do I wear? And do I represent my brand? Or am I just chilling? It starts to, because I used to have a wardrobe for everything. I want y'all to, if you liking what I'm saying so far, click the little person with the plus sign and add some people just to let them know, because Facebook doesn't let them know that we're broadcasting. And so I had a shoe for every occasion. A shoe for the pulpit, a whole shoe. Just be straight up with you. You know, when I'm going out and I want to dress up, had a dress for that and a dress for this. Come on now, y'all with me? Y'all with me? I had my wardrobe in sections. I had my business. I had my play. Okay. Not too many jeans. I'm not really that kind of girl and that type of thing. And, you know, I've gone through phases, the butterfly, myself, you know, rebirth. I had rebirthed many times where my clothes no longer matched who I was. So here I am in Costa Rica where I get, not only do I sell all my things, we are very deliberate about what it is that we are packing and doing and all of that. So this breaking the habit of being myself started with a yes when I decided to move abroad. It's much deeper than what many people, and particularly being who I am. Now, somebody else could move abroad and be thinking about just saving money. Somebody else could be moving abroad to run from something. Somebody else, you know, your reason and intention and who you are and what your vision is for your life has everything to do with how you process your experiences. So here I am starting to break the habit of being myself, because see, myself, many of you probably would say, you know, is a diva and all of this stuff and the social butterfly. Okay, that's who I had been. You know, my calendar always full, always having an event to go to. Hi, sweetie. Thank you for saying hi. And so here I am in this area, and I had broken up with that relationship with the DMV and probably some of the circles that I am connected to be quite honest with you. And so here I am. It's summertime. I'm here, and I realize, and by the way, for the last 3 or 4 months, I've been dealing with this nerve issue in my back, then over to my side. So now that has slowed me down some more too. The physical experience that I'm having is also slowing me down. So I'm not gonna. I'm clever enough to pay attention to patterns and to pay attention to, gosh, I'm moving a lot slower. But I want, you know, of course, I'm still gonna be juicy. You know, even the clothes that I got are juicy. But my wardrobe is also being called from my body to not wear so many things that are fitting on my side right now while I'm in treatment and while I'm just getting to the root of it. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that. So here I am. I'm like feeling myself. It's my birthday. I want to go out and get a few things. And I did. I went out. I got a few things for myself. And I'm like, what took you so long? Talking about our yes. You know, what took you so long, LaTanya? And so on this particular day, I'm giving you the motivation for this topic, and it won't be long. I'm going to give you about 3 points and get on out of here. And so I said, okay, just do this for you. Just, you know, this is what you teach sisters. You can do this. You're still focused. You're not that far off from your goal. You're not being lascivious or loose with your money, you know, because I'm focused on investing in and getting a return on my investment in some other things. And so here I am. I said, just say yes. You know how to play with this. You know the tools. So I went out. I started to go shopping or whatever, and that was, and I got some other things that I wasn't planning on getting, but it said yes to me, so I said yes to it. So here's the magical story, and I'm telling you all this because I had to even break the habit of being myself in this season of my life. I had to break the habit in that instant of what I'm about to share with you. So I wanted to go get a little pedicure, and I was like, it's time, whatever, you know. So I'm like, okay, where do I go? Because I'm not in any of my normal where I go to or whatever. So I go and to pick a place that was just coming up in my spirit to go to this particular place. I walk in, and I'm like, okay. I walk in. As soon as I walk in, I see one of my reverend sisters, my sisters in ministry. And I knew instantly this was the place because she keeps her toes and nails and all this stuff done. Anyway, we get to talking. Not only do we start talking about, come to find out she had also a back issue that she was seeing the acupuncturist for, and it spoke to some other stuff that was happening in the mind and body that I could relate to, and we both, it was almost a shouting moment, you know. And I'll tell you more about the mind and body connection on that later. So we are talking, and the lady finally calls me back, and I go get my pedicure, get in the water or whatever. And I'm talking to the lady next to me and her baby and all that. You know, that's what I do. So my friend, she comes back and she said, you getting the full package, right? And I said, no, I'm just getting a pedicure. She said, you mean, I know you put your hands in water. I know you wash doing things. You just get the gel. And, get your eyebrows done, too. And I was like, no, Smokey will do my eyebrows. Because, Smokey is a barber. So sometimes I get the advantages of being pampered by him. So I said, no, I don't put that chemicals on my nails. I don't put that stuff on my nails like that. It got to be a special occasion. So she said, I'm trying to bless you. And I was like, okay. I was a little embarrassed because I didn't catch it. And the whole point of it was, she said, she came back out. So she said, you're getting the full package, right? And I was like, okay. And in that moment, for me, the giver, the juicy one who talks to you all about your pleasure, about opening to receive, it was an invitation. And it was your yes sometimes when you are used to being yourself, whatever your self is, your soul, your spiritual self, your creative self, whatever you have attached your identity to be. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that it's bad. It just may mean that the season is up for that particular response to whatever it is the universe is asking you for. My sister represented the universe. She was trying to bless me, but the habit of being myself doesn't normally get a whole lot of chemicals and gel and all that stuff, because that Gemini in me, now I know too much. I researched too much. Sometimes I've made decisions about what I put in my body and what I put on my body. And I always just go get the basics and, or sometimes some little stuff. And then I got used to being pampered by my husband. And so in that moment, I was invited to a higher yes, and that was to receive. That I wanted to talk to you all about divine surprises. But I said, no, because sometimes I know that my stuff comes across like it's real fruity. And I know many of you are progressive women who are manifesting businesses, jobs, projects, and that. But there is a time and a season where you will see the love-hate relationship you have with breaking the habit of being yourself, as progressive as you are, as such a much spiritual as you are. There is going to be the invitation for you to break the habit of being yourself. And so you may be saying yes to your vision, yes to a project, yes to whatever it is. And so therefore, when someone is ministering to you or offering you something, you cannot see it because we are only focused on what it is that we are focused on. But sometimes breaking the habit of being yourself means that there has to be a moment of surrender. And I also thought about saying breaking the habit of the love-hate relationship we have with the law of allowing and with surrender, or the love and hate relationship that we have with letting go. Because many of us, we go to a coach, we go to a minister, we go read something from Don Miguel Ruiz, and we quote it on our Facebook page, and we go read something from Marianne Williamson, or we go read something from T.D. Jakes. Pick whichever one, and we quote it. But when it's time for us to be able to let go, many of us have a love-hate relationship with letting go. That's number one. That is because we have been so used to being in control. Many of us in this good girl gone goddess community are high achieving women. Many of us are very independent. We have always taken care of our responsibilities. In fact, many of us have done it so well that we're unconsciously doing it in many areas. And so when somebody comes to offer something to us, we cannot even hear it or see it. And that was happening to me even at that moment. And I needed to feel that embarrassment because I couldn't even recognize that my sister was trying to give me a gift. But because of who I had been, just even maybe 3 days ago, I needed to let that go and have a different experience. One was allowing me to receive and be gifted. The other was allowing a surprise to happen. The part of me was allowing something to how do I say, not bless me, but just absolutely just rain on me, okay? Because I didn't go asking for it. Hey, sis, good to see you. I didn't go asking for it. It came to me. And that's number 2. Many of us, when it comes to breaking the habit of being ourselves, we do not trust that when we let go, that what we desire, what we have said, what we have vision boarded, what we have affirmed, that we don't believe that it really is coming. Now, there are some of you who are so spooky that you only believe. But then there's a part of this practice, this journey of being a goddess, of being magical, that requires for us to not only believe it, but to know it. And so we don't fully trust that when we take our hands off a situation, when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, that it is going to really come a lot of times. A lot of times we won't do it. And so, this is why we won't ask for what we want. Lord, that country just came right on out of me. We won't ask for what it is that we want, what it is that we desire, because we don't trust the universe that when I take my hands off of it, that it really is going to show up for me. In fact, it's counterintuitive when we start dealing with the feminine, because you got to understand it's counterintuitive to those of us who have embarked on the journey of being a goddess, because we have had so much turn inside out and upside down about who we are, that we believe that what is wrong is right and what is right is wrong. We condemn a lot of the things that activate our magic. And when I talk about our magic, I'm talking about our ancient DNA, wherever you are from, wherever you come from. And so whatever your line is, you gotta know your line. And this is why doing your work, you gotta get to the core of your story. Because if you do not know that you constantly manifesting opportunities to trust, opportunities to surrender, opportunities to let go, you will think it's an interruption. Sometimes you may hide it, and it's not that I didn't have the money when I went in there. I just walked in. I was just following. I was just floating. I was letting myself be a butterfly this particular day. And it blessed me so much, because let me just tell you, the sister that did this was somebody who I thought may not have been so in alignment with me and my ministry, because we are so opposite. She's very churchy. She's a minister in the church, in the pulpit, and I mean really traditional by appearances. Okay. And so the third thing is, when the love-hate relationship with breaking the habit of being ourselves, is believing our own inner conversation. Sometimes we have made decisions about people based on where they are, and where you are may not be the same, and you've made a decision for them about how they love you, how they support you, how they are able to show up for you. And that is not necessarily the case. And it has been humbling the way Spirit has brought us back together, because we started off in ministry together and we went on our different paths. And she's not someone who is very visible on my page. Hell, if y'all really don't know know me and understand that I am directly connected to Iyanla Van Zandt, you probably wouldn't believe that either, because Iyanla doesn't come and like anything on the page, and you don't see me posting a whole lot of pictures. So a lot of times you cannot judge what God has going. And I gotta say it like this, you know, I'm not trying to bump up against those of you who are free from your religion. When I say God, I'm talking about the holy I am. You cannot judge what is going on behind the scenes, because if you are not behind the scenes, you don't know what's going on behind the scene. You don't know what the staging is. You don't know what the videography is. You don't know what the AV is that's being set up for you. So we have to stop making assumptions about our relationship with other people who are unlike us. Because a lot of times it causes a delay in connecting with someone who is supposed to be your supporter, who is supposed to be your encourager, who is supposed to challenge you. Breaking the habit of being yourself is something that is a lifestyle. Breaking the habit of being yourself does mean that there is some letting go. But sisters, don't you get tired of always being in control? Because see, what happens is, let me go to the spiritual, and this is a bonus. I said I was going to give you 3, and I'm going to get up out of here. But what happens is, when it comes to the spiritual, this is why I keep prayer at the forefront. Because what happens is, when you start learning a little bit about yourself, then sometimes either you stay with the traditional. Many of you are staying in place because that's they say the poison you know. You pick your poison, so you stay with the poison you know. That's the same philosophy many of you are using in relationships with husbands, in the relationships of where you live, and it may be time for you to move. That's why I started talking about that. You don't know why it's time for you to move. You don't have to know why it's time for you to move, or for time for you to make a move. But here's the thing about us. When you say you get tired of being in control. Thank you, sister, for admitting it. You know, just type a number 1 for those of you who are high achieving women who are used to being number 1. I want you to just type a number 1 in the comments. If you too, you know, our elder Vivian helped us out today. She said, yes, I get tired of being in control. But let me just tell you, when it comes to the feminine, we pray one prayer, but we cancel our prayers out when we get up and we do something else. A lot of times, many of us have been canceling out the prayers that we pray because we don't know how to let go. We resent that. A lot of times we resent the idea of someone telling us to let go, the law of allowing. Why? Because we don't trust. Number 2, we don't typically trust. We don't trust universal law. It feels good to be inspired because many of us have been taught through church. And so it feels good to be inspired. But how long does that feeling last? Is about as long as your orgasm. The truth of the matter is, what makes orgasm so addictive is because it's such a euphoric feeling that doesn't always last too long. Now, of course, when you start living in a tantric space, when you start playing with your pleasure in a different way, then you learn how to literally live in the space of body sensitivity and such. But with that comes also wisdom. So I you know, that's also another little video. But when it comes to number 2 is trusting. And then when it comes to us actually opening ourselves up, we still are stuck on the last process that spirit took us through. I live my life like every day is a workshop. If I'm out partying, that's a workshop. It's an opportunity for me to get in the game, for me to play or to explore or to become curious or to have a new relationship. I live every day like the universe is always speaking to me. You hear me what I'm saying? You hear me what I'm saying? And I don't see your number 1. So y'all ain't tired of being in control, huh? Oh, okay. Y'all got this. Boy, I guess I don't have to call no names, huh? Huh? Okay, anyway. Living my life every day like it's in a workshop, the more that I realize that I the more I study, the more I realize what I don't know. Then I realize the connection of things, and then I realize how much somebody called me. So the more I realize what it is that I don't know, and many of us don't know how to let go of the I know. I know, girl, I already read that. I talk about that all the time. But I literally have had to recognize that sometimes we're in a love-hate relationship with breaking the habit of being ourselves. And it really is a push-pull sometimes. I understand that. But that is the journey. Somewhere when many of you start studying the lighter part of things, meaning coming out of tradition, we only think that it's supposed to just always flow easily and effortlessly under grace. No. Even in sexuality, there is a push and a pull. Even when there is no motion in sexuality, sometimes that's when you're able to feel the depth of the subtle orgasms. Oh my God, that's so good right there to me. Do you know that your orgasm starts long before the Big Bang? Okay? There are subtle orgasms that a woman has deep inside of her womb that is so similar to our life. But if you are trying to control the thrust, if you're trying to control the getting somewhere, I'm trying to always get somewhere. And that's what is in this Washington, D.C. area. Everybody here trying to get somewhere. Everybody trying to be somebody. Everybody trying to do. And I had this post. I'm going to post it on my Instagram later. And I'm talking to the entrepreneurs here. Can anybody relate to this? The post says, some of you grind to be seen. Or some of you hustle to be seen. And on the top of it was this big old house with a whole bunch of cars, or something like that. And then on the bottom was some farmland. And it said, but I grind to disappear. And that spoke to my spirit so much, because I have been a kept woman. I have had all of the things, the trinkets, and I voluntarily released my attachment to that. And I'm not saying that you have to. I'm not, and in fact, I'm saying that you can have it all if that's your choice. But I'm not attached. And there's a law of non-attachment that's very key to the feminine. But it is counterintuitive, because many of us don't believe it, we don't trust it, and we don't allow ourselves to really let go of who we have been. Because who we have been, it is always up for negotiation. Who we have been just yesterday. And the question that we get to ask when we are creating something new is, who do I have to be right now? You talking about being a millionaire? Well, guess what? Who do I have to be to do that? Who do I have to be just to manifest the first 6 figures? Because who you are as an employee may not be who you are as an entrepreneur. Who you are as a girlfriend may not be who you become when you become a wife, because some of you lose your mind when you become a wife. You bump your head, or who you are just in terms of the weight that you were. Many of us are having a love-hate relationship of breaking the habit with being ourselves, because we're still trying to get to the high school weight. Iyanla told me the other day, she said, girl, where you find these cute little dresses? And I'm like, that's good, because she has a stylist, a makeup artist, and all of this stuff. So when you get compliments from people who, your big mamas who are looking at you, and she says, and I said, yeah, I said, well, the butt is a little bigger right now because I'm working on a health issue or whatever. And she said, Oh no, she said, ain't nothing wrong with your butt. She said, where you get this stuff from? She said, y'all better stop trying to be these emaciated women. And I said, you know, she's right. Shit, I just turned 46. And when I was stick rail thin, I wanted hips. I wanted a butt. I always had breasts. And so many of us are still having a relationship with our womanhood that's trying to take us back to being the little damn girls. Break that habit. Many of us, one of the ways I broke the habit was I stopped putting on Spanx. Unless it's a photo shoot, maybe. But I stopped doing that. At one point, I wouldn't leave out the house. I thought I want to suck it in. But part of that came from some religious indoctrination that a woman always has on foundations. You see how subtle these things are? I came from religious indoctrination, and not just religious indoctrination, cultural indoctrination, where I had women who always told me, well, don't show this. You know, even when I go home now, sometimes if my shirt is cut too short, they see even my little niece's program, she'll say, your boob's showing. Well, goddamn it, I got boobs. They gonna show whether they covered up. They gonna show whether I have them drop down or not. And I'm not having a love-hate relationship with my breast. Because there are women out here, come on now, I know some of you all who are in this chat who have had breast cancer, who have lost your breast. Some of you have lost your womb. When are we gonna stop having a love-hate relationship with being ourselves and just damn be it? The question is, who do I have to be today? Not who I was yesterday, but who do I have to be today? And I invite you all to embark on this journey if you've fallen off, if you've isolated, if you've shut down. Because a lot in this space, I know that there are sisters who are blessing you when they tell their testimonies. They are opening up. It's a tithe and an offering when you are able to comment in the comments, or come and post your celebration, or come ask a question. See, because you think that you're doing it for yourself. Some of us are just so attached to what I don't do. I don't be putting all my business out there. I don't want to ask that question because you know Latanya, she might say such and such. You know, come on now, y'all know how we do it. Break the habit of being yourself. Aren't you worth it? Aren't you worth the risk? Aren't you worth saying that, giving up of always being in control? Well, I'm telling you, my yes blessed me. I had to sit there for a moment, and I knew that it was something I held it for a minute, because I really wanted, this happened on like Friday, and I've been wanting to tell you, but I didn't want to overteach with the other folks that were coming on. So anyway, look, I know I haven't done a whole lot of advertisement. This is a part of breaking the habit of, even in business, of doing what everybody else says. I did a birthday special for your basic astrology reading. Normally, the astrology reading is, if I'm playing with those ancestor numbers, it is my full session is a coaching session, and it's a combination of both your astrology, your natal chart, and your numerology. So that's what the full session is, and that's why it's so long, because that's something someone can do for the first time. So I'm doing a birthday special. I'm extending the birthday special for your reading. If you've already had one, you can either gift it to someone else or do a couple's compatibility reading, and I work with you around who it is that you already have in your life. Mothers, you can do it for your children. And of course, you all know that the RevCoach is going to give you something. You're going to walk away with some things that you are going to do. So I will post the link just below this particular broadcast if you are interested in having your reading done. The special was supposed to end on Tuesday, but I'm going to extend it through the week for those of you who have not had your natal chart done. And then after I get to at least about, I have a number in my mind that after I've read so many people in this community, I want to start doing some advanced work with you around your chart, and much, much more. If you are going to be a part of the Orgasmic Abundant Woman mentorship, then you're going to be able to get some of these advanced practices as well. So that's something that's coming later on in a couple of months. And stay tuned also for some summer school announcements, because we're going to do the Goddess Summer School again this year, and it was very successful last year, and it's a great way to fill up your cup so that you are overflowing through your summer in playing with the divine feminine in your life and in the areas that you are desiring to manifest or to refresh or to just shift a little bit. So thank you again for the birthday reading. You said the couples thing. What's the couples thing? Let me go back through the comments. Well, the couples thing is I take your natal chart and whoever it is you're dating or in relationship with or married to, and I look at the chart side by side to see where it is that you are likely to flow, where you're going to have conflict. I look at it to see how and why you may communicate the way that you do, and why it works for you, why it doesn't work for you. The reading is pretty much centered on the person who is initiating the reading. So that's a great way to start learning how you interact with certain people based on their chart. Okay, so hello Monica, hey Monique, hey everybody. Thank you for that little testimonial, Monique. And you said feeling that counterintuitive. Okay, all right. All right, did I miss any comments? My. Yarnetta and I talked about this last night in the car. Okay, now, then we are synchronized. Did I miss any more comments? Any more questions? Tony says the process of letting go is difficult. Lord, even when it's no longer serving us. Jacked up. Speak it. Yes. The process of letting go is, oh boy. Most of the diseases that we hold in our body, whether it be our weight, whether it be internal stuff that we cannot see, a lot of that stuff is from clenching on too tight. Many of us are still too uptight. And I'm going to tell you, when you embark upon this journey of the divine feminine, it's so easy to go back to being who you were before you got the information. That's why information is not just enough. We have to learn how to practice. And it does take practice to break the habit. But many of us are in a love-hate relationship with breaking the habit of being ourselves. We really are, because we're so comfortable, yet we hate it. And that's why we are having marriages that are broken down. This is why we are having infertility issues and or blockages, or in our money and in our love and in the way that we relate in sex. Y'all don't know how, I'm not making this stuff up, right? Y'all do know that when I'm coming to you, I'm not coming on some airy-fairy BS. I'm talking about there are some of us who are sitting in this space is soaking up this information, and we do nothing over and over again because we'd rather masturbate with the love-hate relationship that we have with ourselves and hold on to it so nobody else will know, rather than come out, let ourselves be loved and seen, because many of us have not been loved based on who we are. We've been loved based on our performance. We've been loved based on what we have. We've been loved based on our achievement. We've been loved based off of what we cover up and present to everybody else. And that is dishonest. And there's a dishonesty that's happening amongst women that has become acceptable to us. As long as we have things, many of us are able to fly low and go without being detected. And the truth is, many of you resent being undetected because you want to be loved. So there are many people in this space. There's some of you where your house is out of order. You are living in clutter. And that has become an acceptable norm for you. Some of you are living in absolute filth. How do I know? Because you've told me, because there's situations that have broken you down. That's more going on there, okay, than that. There are some of you who are fighting your husbands, your men, you fight them more than you are able to love them, because you've never had a model. So you got a mouth. You don't say nothing when you're in this space of working on yourself. You won't show up. You won't say anything. Come on now, I'm walking heavy. Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me. Okay, some of us are doing this, and it's okay. Listen, we know because the society has said stuff like it's okay for a man should never put his hand on a woman, right? But then there are some of us who are running up in the face of men, calling them bitches, calling them whores, getting in their face, talking to them like this, working your head like this. You understand that when you approach a man like that, he no longer sees you as a woman. He sees another man. And so if that man is a warrior, you are activating the war inside of him. And, oh, you say, well, what about me? Shit, I got a warrior. What about me? He better not act a warrior inside of you, in me. Yes, you do. Yes, we all do have a warrior inside of us. But that's what's wearing us the hell out. Because many of us are fighting an imaginary battle, and we avoid the one that's happening on the inside of ourselves, right? There are some of us who are on committees. We are leading projects. We're not being paid. We give our gifts away, and then we resent. Then we think that God is going to bless us struggling. That's a slave religion. We think that we're going to be blessed by struggling because we give ourselves away in that way. Come on now, you're not charging. Some of you not charging what you're worth. Do you understand that in business that that the 99-cent store will never be a partner with Nordstrom's or Lord & Taylor? Never. They'll never be a partner. They will get the leftovers and the markdowns. Okay, y'all gotta be going. Y'all activating my oil up in here. Tony says, yes, my attachment has limited my advancement. I'm learning to release the control of attachment. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Let's break the habit of being yourself. And listen, it's a conscious choice. It's a conscious choice. All right. I'm going through the comments. Y'all talking up in here today. Okay. Denise says, this is good. Have to go back and watch it from the beginning. Vanessa said, I'm coming in late into the discussion. How much is the birthday special? It's $11.11. No, I can't inbox you, but I can put the link up there because I really do have a system of when I offer you these little specials. Ayana says, when you know what you know, you can't act as if you don't anymore. Girl, you better say that. But many of us do. Breaking there's a love-hate relationship that happens when you say, oh, when you step into the deep. It's hard to go back, but many of us will go back. And we're married to people who call us back. Or we go to church and worship to take us back. Let me tell y'all something, then I'm going to get on off of this thing. It was very difficult for me, knowing that I'm called to ministry, that I am a teaching preacher. I am. When I began to study truth and to understand that it is absolutely religion and ministry mistaught that has absolutely put many of our people to sleep and keeps them asleep intentionally. I was disheartened for a little while, and there was a part of me that did not want to be associated with that. Even though I knew that I was called to be an interruption and to stand in the place of what was not there yet. And every reading, every person who saw me in my fullness would say a similar message. LaTanya, you don't fit there. You finished with that there. You completed that particular assignment, because what needs to be built, you are the one that has to build it. Y'all keep trying to look for somebody to validate what it is that you are anointed and called to do. Listen, this journey to Goddess is not some fad for me. And that's why we filter who comes into the group. It's not a fad for me. And it's not a fad for many of you who are juicy butterflies, or those of you who have embarked and you invest in yourself, you ask questions, you stay with it, you may dip out, but you dip back in because you know better. There's something that is unique for you to do. But you want to keep being the self that you have been, and it's time for you to break the habit of being yourself. And listen, that's a conscious choice. So listen, the birthday special is on. I'm going to come back and put the link up for those of you who want to have. The only kind of reading that does not apply to the session, this particular session, is a coaching session or the extended session and the couples session. Now, I do read couples at the same time. But when people sit down with me, the reason why I'm not just your 99-cent astrology reading is because you leave there with real strategy for what it is that you may want to start doing differently. Okay? All right. I love y'all, and there's nothing you can do about it. I see y'all saying y'all are co-signing, but look, if y'all tired of carrying these bags, just put the number 1 in there. Come on, get this little special. It's not going to last that long. It's going away. But I do love you. There's nothing you can do about it. Stay tuned, because I'm getting ready to announce another challenge on Sunday, and Super Soul Sister Sunday, which is going to be a very small investment but a big bang in manifesting and breaking the habit of being yourself with some actual strategies. Y'all know that I am the master of processes, and so come on in and get this one that's gonna get you ready for your summer so you don't get distracted and off track. I love you. Ciao.